It's March the 2nd. Let's read the Bible. Friends, thank you so much for joining with us. God put this on my heart late last year, the idea that I should read the Bible out loud. Honestly, until the Lord put this idea on my heart, it had never occurred to me. I've had a lot of ideas in my life, but this really, I think, came from the Lord. And it's something I never thought of. But here we are, March the 2nd, and we're going to wrap up the book of Numbers today, God's travel log, the travel channel of the Old Testament. Preparing to move, moving, and now here at the end, preparing to move again. What we have today, chapter 34, the boundaries of the promised land. And then chapter 35 is further instructions. Chapter 36 is going to talk about, we're going to end up talking about those daughters of Zelophehad. That really turns into be a big deal here in the book of Numbers, how God takes care of these women, these daughters who want to preserve their father's name. Well, that's where the story ends. Let's hop right into it, shall we? Numbers 34. The Lord spoke to Moses, command the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land of Canaan, it will be allotted to you as an inheritance within these borders. Your southern side will be from the wilderness of Zin along the boundary of Edom. Your southern border on the east will begin at the east end of the Dead Sea. Your border will turn south at the Scorpion's Ascent, proceed to Zin and end south of Kadesh Barnea. It will go to Hatzar Adar and proceed to Asmon. The border will turn from Asmon to the brook of Egypt, where it will end at the Mediterranean Sea. Your western border will be the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. This will be your western border. This will be your northern border. From the Mediterranean Sea, draw a line to Mount Hor. From Mount Hor, draw a line to the entrance of Hamath, and the border will reach Zedad. Then the border will go to Ziphron and end at Hatzar Enan. This will be your northern border. For your eastern border, draw a line from Hatzar Enan to Shephem. The border will go down from Shephem to Riblah east of Ain. It will continue down and reach the eastern slope of the Sea of Chinnereth. Then the border will go down to the Jordan and end at the Dead Sea. This will be your land defined by its borders on all sides. So Moses commanded the Israelites, this is the land that you are to receive by lot as an inheritance, which the Lord commanded to be given to the 9.5 tribes. For the tribe of Reuben's descendants and the tribe of Gad's descendants have received their inheritance according to their ancestral families, and half the tribe of Manasseh has received its inheritance. The 2.5 tribes have received their inheritance across the Jordan, east of Jericho, toward the sunrise. The Lord spoke to Moses, these are the names of the men who are to distribute the land as an inheritance for you. The priest Eleazar and Joshua son of Nun. Take one leader from each tribe to distribute the land. These are the names of the men. Caleb son of Jephunneh from the tribe of Judah. Shemuel son of Amihud from the tribe of Simeon's descendants. Elidad son of Chislon from the tribe of Benjamin. Bukai son of Jogli, a leader from the tribe of Dan's descendants. From the sons of Joseph, Haniel son of Ephod, a leader from the tribe of Manasseh's descendants. Kemuel son of Shiftan, a leader from the tribe of Ephraim's descendants. Elizaphan son of Parnak, a leader from the tribe of Zebulun's descendants. Paltiel son of Azan, a leader from the tribe of Issachar's descendants. Ahihud son of Shalomai, a leader from the tribe of Asher's descendants. Pedahel son of Amihud, a leader from the tribe of Naphtali's descendants. These are the ones the Lord commanded to distribute the inheritance to the Israelites in the land of Canaan. Now, Numbers 35, cities for the Levites, and then something about the cities of refuge. Pay close attention to this part of the story. Numbers 35. The Lord spoke again to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Command the Israelites to give cities out of their hereditary property for the Levites to live in pasture land around the cities. The cities will be for them to live in, and their pasture lands will be for their herds, flocks, and all their other animals. The pasture lands of the cities you are to give the Levites will extend from the city wall 500 yards on every side. Measure 1,000 yards outside the city for the east side, 1,000 yards for the south side, 1,000 yards for the west side, and 1,000 yards for the north side. with the city in the center. This will belong to them as pasture lands for the cities. The cities you give the Levites will include 6 cities of refuge, which you will provide so that the one who kills someone may flee there. In addition to these, give 42 other cities. The total number of cities you give the Levites will be 48, along with their pasture lands. Of the cities that you give from the Israelites' territory, you should take more from a larger tribe and less from a smaller one. Each tribe is to give some of its cities to the Levites in proportion to the inheritance it receives. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, designate cities to serve as cities of refuge for you, so that a person who kills someone unintentionally may flee there. You will have the cities as a refuge from the avenger, so that the one who kills someone will not die until he stands trial before the assembly. The cities you select will be your 6 cities of refuge. Select 3 cities across the Jordan and 3 cities in the land of Canaan to be the cities of refuge. These 6 cities will serve as a refuge for the Israelites and for the alien or temporary resident among them, so that anyone who kills a person unintentionally may flee there. If anyone strikes a person with an iron object and death results, he is a murderer. The murderer must be put to death. If anyone has in his hand a stone capable of causing death and strikes another person and he dies, the murderer must be put to death. If anyone has in his hand a wooden object capable of causing death and strikes another person and he dies, the murderer must be put to death. The avenger of blood himself is to kill the murderer. When he finds him, he is to kill him. Likewise, if anyone in hatred pushes a person or throws an object at him with malicious intent and he dies, or if in hostility he strikes him with his hand and he dies, the one who struck him must be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood is to kill the murderer when he finds him. But if anyone suddenly pushes a person without hostility or throws any object at him without malicious intent, or without looking drops a stone that could kill a person and he dies, but he was not his enemy and he didn't intend to harm him, the assembly is to judge between the person who kills someone and the avenger of blood according to these ordinances. The assembly is to protect the one who kills someone from the avenger of blood. Then the assembly will return him to the city of refuge he fled to, and he must live there until the death of the high priest who was anointed with the holy oil. If the one who kills someone ever goes outside the border of the city of refuge he fled to, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the border of his city of refuge and kills him, the avenger will not be guilty of bloodshed. For the one who killed the person was supposed to live in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. Only after the death of the high priest may the one who has killed a person return to the land he possesses. These instructions will be a statutory ordinance for you throughout your generations, wherever you live. If anyone kills a person, the murderer is to be put to death based on the word of witnesses. But no one is to be put to death based on the testimony of one witness. You are not to accept a ransom for the life of someone who is guilty of murder. He must be put to death. Neither should you accept a ransom for the person who flees to his city of refuge, allowing him to return and live in the land before the death of the high priest. Do not defile the land where you live, for bloodshed defiles the land, and there can be no atonement for the land because of the blood that is shed on it, except by the blood of the person who shed it. Do not make the land unclean where you live and where I dwell, for I, the Lord, reside among the Israelites. Last chapter, Numbers 36. The family heads from the clan of the descendants of Gilead, the sons of Machir, son of Manasseh, who were from the clans of the sons of Joseph, approached and addressed Moses and the leaders who were heads of the Israelite families. They said, "The Lord commanded my Lord to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the Israelites. My Lord was further commanded by the Lord to give our brother Zelophehad's inheritance to his daughters. If they marry any of the men from the other Israelite tribes, their inheritance will be taken away from our father's inheritance and added to that of the tribe into which they married. Therefore, part of our allotted inheritance will be taken away. When the Jubilee comes for the Israelites, their inheritance will be added to that of the tribe into which they marry, and their inheritance will be taken away from the inheritance of our ancestral tribe." So Moses commanded the Israelites at the word of the Lord. What the tribe of Joseph's descendant says is right. This is what the Lord has commanded. concerning Zelophehad's daughters. They may marry anyone they like, provided they marry within a clan of their ancestral tribe. No inheritance belonging to the Israelites is to transfer from tribe to tribe, because each of the Israelites is to retain the inheritance of his ancestral tribe. Any daughter who possesses an inheritance from an Israelite tribe must marry someone from the clan of her ancestral tribe, so that each of the Israelites will possess the inheritance of his fathers. No inheritance is to transfer from one tribe to another, because each of the tribes is to retain its inheritance. The daughters of Zelophehad did as the Lord commanded Moses. Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, married cousins on their father's side. They married men from the clans of the descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained within the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commands and ordinances the Lord commanded the Israelites through Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. In other words, they made it. They made it all the way from Sinai through the desert, 40 years, generation died, fought some battles, came to the top of the Dead Sea. They are across on the east side of the Jordan River. And over there, they can see Jericho, not far promised land, just on the other side. That's where we are at the end of the book of Numbers. And that long passage about the cities of refuge, 3 on the east, 3 on the west, we're going to come back to that when we get to Joshua chapter 20, which is God's way of protecting the innocent. Those who are guilty of manslaughter, but they're not guilty of murder. They killed somebody, and some kind of justice must be done, but they didn't do it with evil intent, because intent matters. Otherwise, the avenger of blood would just come. Remember, there was no police force in that day. You couldn't call, there was no 911 to call. There was no police force. They didn't have what we have today. And so this was God's way of saying, I'm going to protect those who are unfairly accused of murder. I think when you bring that over into the New Testament, Jesus is our city of refuge. We can run to him when we are guilty, when we're in trouble, when we're in need. We can come to Jesus, to you who for refuge have fled. My friends, God keeps his promises. If you get into a hard place today, remember Jesus is the ultimate refuge for the people of God. He's our friend today, our friend tomorrow, and our friend forever. Thank you for joining us for this journey through the great book of Numbers. And tomorrow, we're not going to jump into Deuteronomy just yet. Going back to the book of Psalms, beginning reading Psalms 16 through 30, starting tomorrow. So go out and have a great day, friends. Come back tomorrow. We'll do this again. God bless.